Chapter 14. Mr. Friedrich's eyes bulged like the eyes of a pond frog, and his mouth fell open. Only a gurgling, gasping sound came out. Mrs. Friedrich yelped and plopped down a nearby bale of unbleached cotton cloth, pushing her way from around the counter. Catherine Banks pried Mr. Friedrich's fingers from Mike's arm. At the same time, a tall man stooped to poke his face into Mr. Friedrich's, demanding, "What's this about a murder? Who's Reuben Starkey?" someone asked. "The Friedrich's hired hand," someone else explained. "He's that book-reading riverman," the tall man added. Everyone seemed to talk at once. "When did this happen? Did the boy see it? Someone should get the marshal." "The marshal's out of town," Mr. Crandon said. "He hooked his thumbs into his vest pockets and began to bluster. Why are we listening to this boy? A known liar and a thief." The color began to come in Mr. Friedrich's face again. "That's right," he shouted. "We don't need the marshal. The story's nothing but lies. I did not kill Reuben. I have never killed anybody." "Be quiet, please," Catherine shouted over the babble of voices. "Mike wouldn't make the accusation without good reason. I'd like to hear what he has to say." Mike was so frightened he could hardly talk. He had to clear his throat and try again before he could blurt out what he'd seen and heard the night Reuben had disappeared. "A stupid boy waking from dreams. He's mixed them up with reality," Mr. Friedrich grumbled. "He told you he fell asleep again on the floor, and that's why he didn't see Reuben leave the barn or see him pack his belongings and leave my property." Mike tugged Reuben's book from his pocket and held it high where everyone could see it. "This book of poems belongs to Reuben. He was never without it. Reuben would never have left this book behind." He faced Mr. Friedrich as he added, "I found it where you hid it, behind the toolbox in the barn." "Reuben gave me that book," Mr. Friedrich shouted. "I don't believe it," Mike shouted back. "It was for you, you dumbcough. He asked me to give it to you." Mike stared at him for an instant and hugged the book to his chest. "Then why didn't you?" he asked. "Because you have no need to fill your mind with that foolishness. I will decide what you read and learn." He reached out for Mike, but Mike backed away, saying, "I found a newly spade place in the woods with a brush laid over it to hide it. It's big enough for—" Mrs. Friedrich gave a little shriek, and the tall man clapped a hand on Mr. Friedrich's shoulder. "Big enough to bury a man?" he asked Mike. "I think so," Mike nodded. Mr. Friedrich sparred. "Let go of me, Ned Gosnell. Michael doesn't know what he's talking about. Yes, I buried something, but it was not Reuben. It was... what it was is no one's business." "I think you better tell us, Mr. Friedrich," Catherine said. He studied the faces and turned to his and flushed red with anger. "Very well. It was my own property, my money and my valuables, which I hid from Corey Blair." Mr. Friedrich quickly looked down at the floor, and Mike knew he was lying. "Corey Blair?" a short, stocky man asked. "This is a mighty strange tale. I know the Blairs well, and their boys might be a little headstrong, but they're all good, law-abiding citizens. Corey Blair wouldn't steal the Friedrichs' money." "Maybe some of us should go take a look at the dug-up place in the Friedrichs' woods," Ned said. "How about you, Tom?" The stocky man added. "I'll come." "You, Amos?" Mr. Crandon took a step backward. I have pressing business to attend to." You, none of you have the right," Mr. Friedrich stammered. Catherine took Mike's hand. "I think it'll be better if for Mike, for the time being, stays with me." "No," Mr. Friedrich said. "Andrew McNair has put me in charge of Michael's welfare, and there he will remain until I decide otherwise." "I disagree," Catherine said. Mr. Friedrich grabbed Mike's left hand and whirled, pulling him from the group. Quickly, Mike stretched out his right hand and shoved the book at Catherine. "I'll keep it for you," she said quietly, "and I'll send for Andrew." Mike was shoved into the bed of the wagon. As Gunter leapt from the wagon seat, Mrs. Friedrich was half lifted into the seat where she slumped, fanning herself vigorously. Ned and Tom rode to their horses next to the wagon. Mike was glad they were along. Mike's thoughts were scrambled as broken eggs. He didn't know what to believe. Could Reuben really have left him with a book of poems because he didn't have a chance to say goodbye? Or had Mr. Friedrich made up the story to save his own skin? And the closer they came to that spot in the woods, the closer they came to knowing what Mr. Friedrich had buried there. When they arrived at the farm, Ned and Tom tied their horses to the post, and Gunter was told to care for the Friedrich horses. 2 shovels were brought from the barn, and Mike was marched up the hill with the men, and Mr. Friedrich's large fingers digging mercilessly into his left shoulder. They paused at the site Mike had described under the hickory trees, and carefully Ned pulled aside the brush to reveal a patch of tamped earth. "There it is," he said. "Nothing left but to see what's buried here." Mr. Friedrich slapped the handle of one shovel into Mike's trembling hands and gave him a push that nearly knocked him off balance. "You're responsible for this," he snarled. "You can be the one to dig." Tom gave Mr. Friedrich a disgusted look and took the other shovel in his own hands. The loose earth flew aside in huge clumps as he worked next to Mike, and before long the metal edge of Tom's shovel thumped and hit something hard. Mike held his breath as dirt was scraped away to reveal a wooden box that was no more than a foot square in size, its corners trimmed with brass, its hinged lid fastened tightly with a padlock. "Couldn't fit a man in a box that small," Ned said. "Of course you couldn't," Friedrich snapped. "I told you what's in the box, my valuables." "Better take a look, just to be sure," Tom said. Mr. Friedrich's chest puffed out. "You can take my word for it," he demanded. "The marshal's going to ask what we saw," Ned said. He pointed to the padlock. "You got a key for that with you?" I lost the key." Ned bent and hefted the padlock. "It's not a very strong lock. I can break it open with the shovel." Mr. Friedrich stepped forward. "Wait, I'll open it." He pulled a key from his vest pocket, stooped, and opened the lock. Hesitantly, he opened the hinged lid of the box. Mike leaned forward with the rest of them to peer inside the box. It was half filled with coins, many of them silver, some gold. "Woo-wee," Tom said. "That's a powerful lot of money." Ned's eyes were sharper. "It's not U.S. money." He looked at Mr. Friedrich. "Where'd it come from?" "The German states," Mr. Friedrich said. "The guldens and ducats from Prussia, the larger coins from Würzburg." He suddenly slammed the lid down and locked the box again. "I brought it with me to the United States. I've taken good care of it, and now, because of your meddling, it's no longer safe." "We aren't going to take your money," Tom said indignantly. "But you'll tell everyone," Mr. Friedrich spat out the words, "and the moment you're back in town, your tongues will wag faster than a dog's tail." "I won't give that remark the answer it deserves," Tom said, and Mike could see him swallow hard, "because we are on your property. But you got no right to insult us like that." When Mr. Friedrich didn't answer, the two men looked at each other. "Want us to bury it here again?" Ned asked. "No! Do you think I'm stupid?" Mr. Friedrich screeched. The two men hoisted the box to ground level, and Mr. Friedrich struggled to pick it up. "Are you satisfied now that this boy has been lying?" he demanded as he cradled the box in his arms. Both men turned to study Mike. Mike began. "I thought that," he took a long breath, "when Reuben disappeared in the middle of the night, after that argument with Mr. Friedrich, I was afraid. I'm sorry I told everyone what I thought had happened." Ned shot an angry glance toward Mr. Friedrich and clapped a hand on Mike's shoulder. "No real harm done," he said. "Matter of fact, we still don't know what happened to that Starkey feller, do we?" "I told you that Reuben Starkey left," Mr. Friedrich exploded. "And you are all such idiots to believe that boy. Get off my property right now." "Just hold on a minute," Tom said. "I don't know how we'll reach an answer to this unless someone can find Starkey," Ned said. "If you don't know where," Mr. Friedrich interrupted, "go back to town and report what you found to those other stupid fools." He glared at the men. "And tell them there's no use looking for the money, because by the time they come sneaking around my land, I will have these things hidden somewhere else." Tom's chin jutted out and he marred. "You're accusing a lot of good folks of being fools and thieves." He stepped toward Mr. Friedrich, but Ned put a restraining hand on his arm. "Tom, we'll give the folks the message just like the Friedrich gave it to us. We'll tell the marshal there wasn't no sign of Reuben Starkey. Maybe he'll want to come out and do some more digging around the property." "Go," Mr. Friedrich shouted. "Get out of here." The men strode down the hill. Mr. Friedrich waited until they were out of sight and snapped at Mike. "Come to the house and bring those shovels with you." Mike struggled with the two shovels, trying to keep up with Mr. Friedrich, who strode quickly in spite of the heavy box he carried. As they reached the house, Mr. Friedrich ordered, "Wait right here," and went inside. Trembling, Mike clung to the shovels until Mr. Friedrich reappeared. "To the barn," Mr. Friedrich ordered. And inside the barn, Mr. Friedrich grabbed the shovels and threw them against the wall. "Mrs. Banks will send for Andrew McNair," he said, "and I will tell him what a troublemaker you have been. But I will tell him I have decided not to send you back to New York. It is my duty to teach you to conquer your wicked nature and learn to be a responsible man. Mr. McNair will agree with me. No one else will take you. Mr. McNair will not want to send you back to New York. So I want you to think about what that means and about the gratitude you owe me. So until tomorrow morning, you'll be locked in your room upstairs." "Mr. Friedrich," Mike tried to say, "I know I was wrong to accuse you without knowing the facts about Reuben, but I was frightened, and you wouldn't believe that I hadn't taken the pocket knife. The gunter had slipped in my pocket." "You are a wicked boy." Mr. Friedrich's low tone of voice frightened Mike more than if he'd been shouting at him. Mike's stomach clutched painfully. Mr. Friedrich continued, "Do you know that people will come and trample my land looking for a grave that does not exist? And even though they find nothing, forever after there will be those who still believe I killed Reuben Starkey. If we could find Reuben, if we knew where to search for him, then people would—" "Before you are locked up," Mr. Friedrich said, as though Mike's words were no more than buzzing of a fly, "you will be given the punishment you deserve." Mike realized what Mr. Friedrich meant and tried to run, but Mr. Friedrich was faster. With the left hand, he gripped Mike's arm, and he managed to tug off Mike's coat. Flinging it to the ground, he pulled the strap from the wall, and as Mike twisted and squirmed, Mr. Friedrich brought down the strap across his legs and shoulders, crying out, "Ulrich! You're Ulrich all over again!" Finally, he dropped the strap and let go of Mike, who fell to the ground, racked with burning pain. He closed his eyes to shut it out, but stabbing streaks of white-hot light flashed through the darkness. "Get up," Mr. Friedrich ordered, and when Mike didn't move, Mr. Friedrich reached down and jerked him to his feet. Mike could hardly walk, but Mr. Friedrich poked and pried him into the house and through the kitchen, where Marta stared at him with damp, red-rimmed eyes. Upstairs, Mr. Friedrich shoved Mike roughly to his room. Mike threw himself face down at the bed, and as he heard the key turn in the lock and the footsteps thump down the stairs, he burst into tears. However horrible prison might be, his life here had to be worse. "I never meant to cause so much trouble, Ma," he murmured through his sobs. Gradually it seemed to Mike as though his family had gathered to be with him in the room. Each of them looked at him with such deep sadness it broke his heart. Ma held out her arms to him and he struggled to reach her, but she was too far away. There were tears on Peg's cheeks, and Francis softly called his name, but Mike hurt so much he couldn't leave the bed. "What should I do?" he whispered. Danny's eyes flashed. "Run away! Head for the mountains!" he insisted. Megan shook her head firmly. "That won't solve anything." She brushed back her dark hair and said, "Think, Mike. Think hard." Think about what? Little Petey asked. Mike knows. Francis held out a hand to Mike and smiled. Where would Reuben go? Mike groaned. I don't know. Yes, you do. Let him rest. Da moved forward as he spoke and began to stroke the damp hair from Mike's forehead. It's your fault, Da, Mike accused. This happened because you left us. Do you think I wanted to? I'd never have left you willingly, Mike, my lad. There was so much pain in his Da's voice that Mike pulled himself up and grasped his hand with the strength he could find. I wanted to help, Mike explained. Sometimes I was so fearful I didn't know what to do. I tried. Hush, son, it's all right. Da put a finger over Mike's lips and whispered, I love you, Mike. Oh, Da, and he looked deeply in his father's eyes. The wall of anger and pain around him shattered, and Mike clung tightly to Da. I need you, he murmured. I'm here, Da answered. I'm here. His words blended with a gentle stroking of the hand to ease the pain, and soon Mike was breathing with soft, steady rhythm. I'm here. I'm here. Francis stood beside Da. You've never been down for long, Mike. You've got spunk and wit. You know what to do next. She held out a hand and opened her mouth to speak again, but the voice interrupted. Mike's dream vanished as Marta whispered, Mike, wake up. He raised his head, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, and managed slowly and achingly to sit up. Your poor, poor back, she murmured. There's blood on your shirt. Mr. Friedrich had no right to take out his anger on you. From under Mike's coat, which she laid on the chair, she pulled a thick parcel and shoved it into his hands. There's meat and bread in there. Hide the paper when you're finished. Where's Mr. Friedrich? He and Gunter are at work outside, and Mrs. Friedrich has taken to her bed. How'd you get into my room? The door's locked. Marta sat beside him on the bed. Mr. Friedrich hung the key in its place in the kitchen. I just waited until I knew he wouldn't be back for a while. I don't want you to get in trouble. It doesn't matter to me one whit how much he might shout at me. She lifted her chin. I've made my decision. I'm going to leave this place. To marry Corey? Maybe, she said. But first, I'll find work somewhere. It won't be hard. Last night when he was beating me, Mr. Friedrich called me Ulrich, Mike said. Do you know why? She nodded, her cheeks flushing pink. Because Ulrich was a thief. And Mr. Friedrich has never been able to forgive him for that. You see, Ulrich was his son, his eldest son. Mike gasped. You told me you were married to Ulrich. I was very young and my parents had just died, Marta said. There was so much poverty where we lived, but at least the Friedrichs had food on the table, and Ulrich was handsome and funny, and she paused. The Friedrichs had food because of Ulrich. Mike felt his own face become hot with embarrassment. What happened to Ulrich? He was finally caught and taken to jail. Mr. Friedrich was so furious with Ulrich he did not go to him or help him in any way, even when Ulrich became very ill. Is that how Ulrich died? Yes, and Mr. Friedrich blames himself. How about the... Hush. Marta put a finger on her lips and glanced toward the doorway. Neither of them moved or even dared to breathe until she said, I thought I heard something. We must not talk any longer. She turned to leave, but Mike said, wait. I need your help. The pieces of his dream began to fall into place, and he knew Francis and Megan had tried to tell him. No matter what's in store for me, he thought, Michael Patrick Kelly's never going to stay down for long. I'm going to leave too, he told Marta. I have to look for Reuben. Bringing Reuben back to St. Joe is the only way I'll be able to change people's minds about Mr. Friedrich. Her eyes widened. You would do that for him after what he's done for you? I owe him that, Mike said. Then leave, Marta said. Leave tonight while the family's asleep so they won't know for hours that you've gone. I'll see the door is unlocked. Mike shook his head. Those stairs creak loudly enough to raise the whole family from sleep. I'll have to leave through the window. Marta frowned. The drop could break your legs. Not if I had a rope, Mike said. Marta smiled. You'll have your rope. If I can get it for you. She ran to the door and paused. Good luck, Mike. I hope we'll meet again in happier times. The door shut and the key made a grating click in the lock. Mike held his breath, the food in his hands forgotten. His heart hammered in his ears. Tonight, he was going to run away.